Hi, and welcome to another story time brought to you by ABC Read and ABC Learn, in which we are here to help develop and nurture that love of reading in every child as well as every adult. How is everybody doing today? All right, or maybe evening time, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. I hope that you all are doing great, and I hope that you all are planning to read for at least 30 minutes a day, or you already have read for at least 30 minutes today. All right, well, let's get started, all right, because I got a really good book that I can't wait to share. But before I do that, I want to give you guys another reading aloud strategy, which is when you are reading aloud, it is great if you want to go back to the story to ask different questions about the story. It is great to put little post-it notes or little slips of paper, something like that, to mark the pages that you want to ask about, all right? So, sometimes you may think about something, you're like, oh man, I want to be able to talk to them about that after the story or even during the story. Well, just mark the pages, all right? So then it can, be an easy flow, all right? Bam, just like that. All right, so let's get started. All right, here's our book for today. All right, you guys see the beautiful illustration of this girl on the cover, right? Well, let's read the title together, if you all can, because I know some of this print right here is a little small. So, of course, as I read it, just repeat after me. The Little Girl with the Too Big Hair. All right, The Little Girl with the Too Big Hair. Interesting title, right? What are they talking about? Well, you see the girl right here, right? And you can see part of her hair, right? All right, looks gorgeous, right? Looks beautiful. But why is she looking so sad? Why is her face looking so sad? Why is she so down? What do you think? Do you think it's because someone has made fun of her hair? That could possibly be the case, right? And the author of this story, her name is Janna Peterson. Well, let's find out what The Little Girl with the Too Big Hair is all about. A sad little girl from just up the block enters the school gate and heads up the walk. She passes her classmates who clutter the halls, the beauties, the class clowns, the know-it-alls. And careful not to lift her eyes from the floor, she goes to her classroom and moves through the door. Her voice remains silent, but tears in her eyes display all the fear Ava's feeling inside. Because once the bell rings, the teasing would start. The hurtful joking that breaks Ava's heart. The snorts, the giggles, the funny looks, and passing of notes behind textbooks. This lasted until the final bell rang, and then tomorrow would start up all over again. She'd lean her head down or sink into her chair and imagine she didn't have kinky hair. While the day ticked slowly, she was, as predicted, pushed down and picked on and downright afflicted by other more popular raven-haired girls who'd chosen to straighten their own kinky curls. They told her her hair was too easily tangled and laughed that it stood up while all of theirs dangled. They said that her kinks would never compare to their chemically altered and heat-treated hair. She thought on their words as she made her way home and searched till she found an old straightening comb. Although she was scared of its frightening heat, she only backed down once the job was complete. She dragged that comb as it smoked, popped, and fizzled, and straightened and flattened her kinks, coils, and frizzles. She smiled at the mirror through smoky gray air. At last, she was rid of that big, kinky hair. That night, she had the most pleasant of dreams, of going to school without being teased, of entering classrooms where kids were much kinder, all thanks to the ponytail swinging behind her. She dreamed of the invites to go to the mall with beauties, class clowns, and know-it-alls, of them asking forgiveness for being unfair by putting her down when she had kinky hair. However, the next day was far, far worse. They were meaner to her than they had been at first. Ava couldn't believe their shocking rebuffs, that her brand new straight hair was not straight enough. At least before it could pass as a style, if what you were seeking was nappy and wild. But what could be done with this in-between state, with hair neither kinky nor perfectly straight? To deal with the anger and sadness she felt, she ran to the bathroom to be by herself. She stared quite sadly at her reflection, trying to make sense of her classmates' rejection. As she stood staring, the door opened wide to let a few girls tumble loudly inside. She moved out of sight to hide what was there, her sadness, her fear, and her half-kinky hair. The girls who had entered, please bear in mind, were what you might call the popular kind, with a look in their eyes and a skip in their steps that told those watching of their confidence. But what they did next was watch their reflections, each one pointing out her own imperfections, while Ava looked on both confused and surprised because they'd seem perfect in her eyes. One hated her nose, which took too much space, destroying her otherwise perfect face. There was one who declared her lips were too thin. Another one fussed at her too freckled skin. One girl was convinced that her teeth were too small. One girl was too short. One girl was too tall. And these flaws Ava hadn't noticed before were now all but impossible to ignore. There in the bathroom, it finally made sense. These flaws had been hidden by their confidence. But by bashing their features, true or untrue, their flaws came to Ava's attention too. She knew exactly what had to be done to stop her bullies from making fun. If the same principle applied to her, she started the bullying, and she was the cure. For the rest of the day, the jokes didn't cease, but Ava still felt unusual peace. When she got home, she set to the task of washing her big, kinky hair right back. She looked in the mirror at just how she was, deciding she liked her own natural fuzz. And she'd undo the years of ridicule by telling herself she was beautiful. The jokes didn't stop immediately. The next day, the next week, or even 3. Still, she held her head high and focused on those who weren't making fun of her gorgeous afro. She was surprised by how many there were who loved her hair and envied her. And as she grew stronger and less insecure, the jokes didn't sting her so much anymore. As for the bullies, they noticed a difference and slowly but surely began to lose interest. They shifted their taunting to anyone else who knew not the safety of loving themselves. The lesson she learned, Ava never forgot. And to those in need, this lesson she taught. It has nothing to do with the thoughts of your peers. It's accepting yourself that makes flaws disappear. The end. Well, I hope that you all enjoyed that story. And in addition to that, I hope you all learned a great lesson in this story. And before I end this read aloud, I wanted to ask you all a couple of questions. I wanted you all to think back to the text and remember what I said in the beginning, right? The reading aloud strategy, in which, I don't know if you all noticed, that's what I did for this book, because I wanted to ask you all some questions, because I wanted to make sure that you can comprehend and that you understood the message, which I believe you did. But I just wanted to ask, just to give you a little test, all right? What was the problem in the story? Well, the problem was that Ava felt insecure, right? She didn't like herself because of her kinky hair. But why didn't she like herself because of her kinky hair? Because she didn't have that confidence that she needed to believe that her hair was beautiful, even in spite of those bullies, right? She was being bullied because of her hair, all right? So that was the problem in the story. She was being bullied because she did not have that confidence to stand up and defend the fact that she had beautiful, gorgeous hair, all right? And how did she begin to solve that problem? Well, first, she took the step of thinking that she had to look like those who were bullying her, right? They were teasing her, calling her names. And so she said, well, wait a minute, I need to look like them. They were considered popular, right? And so she tried to fix her hair and straighten her hair like their hair. And then what happened after that? Another problem occurred, right? She realized that, oh my goodness, even after me going through all of this, they still don't like me. They're still talking about me. And so then that's when she had what a lot of people call the aha moment, right? When she saw them looking at themselves in the mirror and they were noticing their own quote unquote imperfections, in which she understood what? They weren't imperfections, right? This is what they were born with, just like she was born with her beautiful, gorgeous hair. All right? So I hope that you all understood, which I believe you did, about the message of this story, which is, number one, like the author said in the page, again, love yourself. And this story really, really resonates deep in my heart when it comes to talking about African-American girls and women and our hair texture. So as soon as we start appreciating and loving our hair and not buying into that white supremacy standard of beauty, then as long as we understand that our hair is beautiful and what we were blessed with, then guess what? You will have that confidence and you will not be bullied or let anybody try to bully you or intimidate you. All right, you guys, take care and have a beautiful rest of your day and keep reading at least 30 minutes a day. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.